Hello. Right, this is the replacement. If anyone's watching, I'm just going to get this. I don't know what goes wrong with this. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to perhaps start the live stream or prepare the live stream at 2:30, and then you just have to find it here. I don't understand. I prepare it all, have it advertised, and then the link is pointless. So new replacement live stream. There we go. So hopefully this is take two. Otherwise, I'm just going to be on Telegram today. So again, somebody could please sign in. Please say hello. Thank you very much, Michael. Brilliant. Hopefully. And the sound's okay. I've turned the volume up. Now, if I do disappear, you'll know why. It's just the Wi-Fi going all Lionel Blair on me today. A good recovery from Amior. 0-2 down against Grenoble, not necessarily in the in-play stats or with any market confidence, but given the fight back and given Grenoble were leading, this has a recipe for a late Desmond Tutu. Hello again, Paul. Hello, Exchange Markets. And Stephen, nice to see you all. My apologies again. Next week, what I'll do, I'll do what I just did now. I'll do a link immediately and then send it to you on Telegram, I think. Thank you very much, Dave. So Amior, Grenoble, you might want to stick in your notebook. Possibilities there from them. And I have it up here. Missed all the fun. I had it up because of a 0-2 lead for the away side, but and red card brewing perhaps. So I'll wait for that draw to get a little bit shorter, but this looks a good candidate. A good story behind it. That's what I like to see. Villarreal, superb. Pre-Champions League, scoring 2 goals at home. Absolutely no bother for them today. But watch out for these, particularly the Premier League sides, completely cocking things up. Atalanta had a goal disallowed just a moment ago against Udinese. I'm not sure if they're in Europe or not. I'll have to double check. One of the big boys aren't, either AC Milan or Atalanta. Begins with an A, anyway. Hacken and Malmo, it's one of those 2.5, the favourite matches, could do anything. And we've been more successful with a primary focus on the big guns. And with that in mind, if you go off to Odds Checker, just a little trick for you to home in. I can't show you it. The lovely Thai authorities are stopping that. Oh dear. Gambling not allowed, apart from the Thai state lottery, of course, where that is gambling, and it is allowed. So I don't know what's going on with that. But we get to Odds Checker, and I'll just show you. While the goals are a little sparse. Sorry about the delay. Sure you don't want to listen to this. Go to the football accumulator on Odds Checker and the 2.5 goals. Hopefully we get there before this music bores me to tears. Come on. There we go. Right. So if you go to the over and under 2.5 goal section here. Oh, come on. Don't you just love Thai internet? It's wonderful. Going to be here till Christmas. There we go. Udinese have scored first against Atalanta. Just have to check whether Atalanta are involved in Europe or not. I'm not sure if it's Atalanta or AC Milan. because it could be another potential banana skin, couldn't it? So we're looking towards Tuesday. It's one of those two. We're heading on down. So we've got Napoli, certainly. Nothing on the Tuesday. We used to be able to do this with soccerway.com. They had all of the upcoming fixtures, but they completely hatchet jobbed their website, which was a real pity. There they go. They're playing Marseille in the Champions League. Now, puts a whole different complexion on that 1-0 scoreline, doesn't it? Away from home. Hi, Ebba. Nice to meet you. Away from home. Pre-Champions League now. So we've got to be a little wary that they may underperform today. And that's immediately shown in the first half. 0.08 expected goals is awful. Absolutely awful. They'll have to improve markedly second half. And they are on a Celta Vigo-like run of 1-1s. Surely not another 1-1 today. If there was a 1-1 later on, I would certainly lay that late draw. They're on a... Are they a sister club to Celta Vigo? I'm not sure. But 1-1 turns up a hell of a lot with Atalanta. Must be frustrating the life out of the manager. There's a Desmond Tutu coming in. Did you get in before I did? I'm a bit squeamish about laying at 1.5 and 1.6 because the liability really does start growing, doesn't it? But a very good story, and I hope you got involved. Don't please parrot, copy. Do think for yourselves. If you like the story and you wanted to play that draw, you'd have got very decent play. And Grenoble, all for naught in the first half, but they've got the goal back now. So look out for those Desmond Tutus, as we call them. So an early look down, 0.92 expected goals for Häcken in a 2.4 the favourite match, probably better attacked. 2.5 goals, particularly with that 2-2 run for Häcken in the last two matches, which means Malmo could score the next goal, couldn't they? Or Häcken could score the next goal. So 2-2 might be an angle. Up to you if you wanted to play, but 2.4 the favourite. The market's already telling you they don't fancy this one. Looking at Jablonec and Zlin, 1.67 home favourite, 0-2 down. Now, this is not a top league, so if we are going to get involved, we want to get involved at very, very short odds for the late, very, very big odds for the back. Now, we've had our success the last two Saturdays, or at least last Saturday, focusing primarily on the elites, and they delivered really well, didn't they? So just put that into context if you're playing Jablonec. I'll have a look. I just wanted to show you this now it's loaded. Hopefully before my 65th birthday in 10 years time. Here we go. So go through this. I can't show you all of it. Make a note of any teams 1.6 or lower for over 2.5 goals. Okay. What I've done today for you, just get Fairbot back. What I've done today for you is I've put them all on Flash Score to keep an eye on, which is a sister site to Soccer 24. These have a very good record for goals, as you'd imagine. Not only that, look at this. Not only that, but goals second half has been a strong bias in the matches I've been monitoring. So it'll be interesting to see how this eventuates. We've got 3 of them here. Frankfurt are absolutely full of goals. So 20 minutes might be your opening point if you're expecting goals for them. Scoring an absolute shed load. But pre-European club competition. Stuttgart, I think, pre-European club competition as well. Not sure about Mainz this season. Certainly these two as well. Freiburg as well. So a lot of European distraction in Germany. The ones that I've got here are all 1.6 and lower in the over 2.5 goal market. So they'll be worth monitoring if you're looking for an overs play. But as I say, the bias has been very second half goals-wise. Got an opener from Freiburg, Union Berlin, struggling to score too many at home. We've got the goals coming in now. Mönchengladbach against St. Pauli, scoring. Wow. It's going to be a tough one for them to get the win. They are totally and utterly lacking confidence, and they're lacking a win. So keep an eye on St. Pauli, but they have gone off the rails. They started the season off with a 3-3 against Dortmund, and then it's all gone Pete Tong, I'm afraid, for St. Pauli. They look like a relegation-threatened side. They look like a newly promoted side, although they were a couple of seasons ago. So I think it's a bit forlorn for them today. But we will see. They have home advantage. We've got the Championship starting and the Premier League et al. It's an interesting day in the Premier League. Sean Dyche against a Manchester United side with exceptional expected goals. And now with Bryan Mbeumo, he's able to convert, which is why they're really doing the job, Man United. Forest, we just don't know. Sean Dyche, I would expect to tighten everything up, tighten that ship, aim for the 1-0, just as Nuno Espirito got the win last time. Brighton is an over 2.5 goal team, both teams to score as well. Watch out for them today. Crystal Palace and Brentford is a London derby, so I'd be very, very careful. Pre-Champions League and away from home. Two tight defences, keeping a lid on their opponents' goal-scoring opportunities, particularly Arsenal. An absolute masterclass in tightening the ship at the back. Burnley not going to land a blow, I don't think, today. It could be a convenient 0-1, 0-2 for the Arse pre-Champions League. I wonder if they'll be resting any players. It's a very defensive-led match, this one. Let's keep an eye on the goals coming in. I don't think I'll play Göztepe, but they were on the list for, I think, 2.5 goals. Notably, the ones that are on the list haven't scored yet. But 20 minutes would be my normal routine. Laid over 0.5 goals to St. Pauli, hoping for a long 0-0. Well, alas, that has failed. But it's a very short odds, Michael. Do them with Parma. You'll get a good run for your money with Parma. That's for sure. So let's just have a quick look through. 3 o'clock's going to go mental, so we can be nice and calm and relaxed at the moment. Reims and Dunkirk, I don't have a strong opinion on, but looks like I saw this with Vasteras earlier on. You've got a decent enough expected goals, and suddenly you start lighting up the momentum as you come to the end of the match. Could be a good one for the 109, 106 lay, if you fancied it. Just based on that latter momentum, just moving upwards, coming to the end of the match. It's not going to be one to prioritise by any stretch. So let's have a quick look. If you can get 1.09, 1.06, and this is how I would do it. I would be laying at 1.09, place that one in to win 23 quid, which is a £2 liability. Then I'd be heading in again at 1.06, just to catch any late action. Don't forget, this is neutral. So we've got both. Oh no, it's not neutral. We're taking on Dunkirk. So we've got to look for Reims. They are odds on at home. They're starting the momentum climb up the graph. £32 at 1.06. Again, is a £2 liability. So if these two get matched, I will win 54 quid. Capture the late goal. If the goal comes between now and 109, I'll get, these will be cancelled. Simple as that. Or they'll continue to stay in the market, but they won't be matched because the draw, Dunkirk will have disappeared, those odds. So it's well worth doing, just based simply on that run up. You can see that little ladder upwards. Momentum rising. Just got my water. Momentum rising. Decent enough XG, although they have converted. And it's a very, very low liability. Does it sound like Bonnie Tyler now? Excuse me. Oh, feel like that bloke from the Fast Show, always clearing his throat. Right, testing. No, it's still there. Excuse me. Throat gets worn, Wi-Fi gets worn. Oh boy. Starmer's Britain. So hopefully I'll get the voice back. So we're just going to be waiting. It's a nice run. Some late shots as well. Well worth a punt. It's not going to cost you anything to find out if there's a late equaliser there. We'll have to keep an eye on Atalanta in case they bother to turn up pre-Champions League. Post 20 minutes, if you were to play overs. Eintracht Frankfurt, again, a second goal disallowed. So they are knocking on that door. Certainly are. We'll see whether that gets scrubbed off or not. But they're one of that list. Be interesting to see when the goals come in and if there's a strong second half goal bias for these matches at Flashscore. That's the one. So no goals yet. So if I was to have confidence in this strategy moving forward with more results, I'm sure I will. That would be my entry point. Potentially for over 2.5 goals after 20 minutes. I've been keeping a tab on results for that as well, and we do tend to see the goals. That's why I get that second half slant. Very strong one. So let's have a look at the end of these matches. When did the first goal get scored? Was it before half time? Because if it was, you'll have a trading opportunity if you wait 20 minutes. Got a goal coming in. It's Ostersund's 2-0 against Trelleborg. No strong opinion with that one. We don't have to get fixated with these lower tiers. Try not to. I tend to get dragged into them. And you saw earlier on with some of the earlier matches. Norwich, for example, 2-point-something expected goals, losing 0-2. Awful stuff in the Championship. So, and again, Leicester City going 2 goals down as well. So these lower tiers, that you don't have these quality stars with quality stats that you can normally rely upon. Talking of stats, have these started brewing up their goals yet? Normally with Mainz and Werder Bremen, you'd expect a goal before half-time as well. But only these 1 shot on, 4 shots off for Mainz. Frankfurt, a couple of goals already, or a couple of suspensions might suggest they are hammering on the door. Leipzig and Stuttgart, pre-European club competition for Stuttgart. These two are in electric form. You can see the 4 wins in the last 5 for both of these two. It could be a chess match. They could cancel each other out, or it could be one of these. You're going to see mountains of momentum change throughout the match. One side on top, other side takes over, other side fights back, other side fights back. They're in really good winning form. Difficult match to read, that, isn't it? Can't really find fault with either of these sides, and the market has corrected itself. It had Leipzig as a very short price favourites, well, relative to the strength of Stuttgart. Now it's a bit tighter, as you can see quite clearly. That's more in keeping with what I would have expected pre-match. Now that's certainly an angle. 0-3. An away side playing a 1.67 home favourite. 0-3 down. That's where I would get involved in these lower tiers. Certainly. Now you can see we're getting matched. If we can get that goal, fine. If we don't, it's I'm not going to be crying over that lost liability. So where were we heading? Jablonec and Trinity's Lynn. If you're going to play these lower tiers, do it in conditions like this. That's more like it, and that is telling a story as well. 3 goals up. Still a little bit of a way to go to 1.01, isn't it? So I would be delighted with this. Look at the liability. Half-time team talk. Don't forget, lads, you're playing in front of your home support, etc., etc. And you can even back Jablonec at 60s as well. Get that half-time team talk in there. Remind them they're 1.67 favourites and see whether they actually perform like 1.67 favourites. If they do, we're in with a good shout at least 1 or 2 goals. Don't forget, we're not after the win. We're after the odds movement. So if we can get that goal early second half, we might be up and running. They'll be on my odds-on favourite list here. Jablonec, I'm sure. Yeah. You can just check out the goals, whether they're own goals, penalties, that kind of thing, just to see if there's a story behind it. Well, Kanu and Bartosak are doing the damage. We can have a look at these stats. Is there anything in the first half from Jablonec? Well, that gives us a glimmer of hope. It's not a hopeless expected goals, is it? 6 shots as well. 1.67 favourite, don't forget. So it's a really good entry point. And touches in the opposition box, 12 to 4. It's enough pressure, decent enough pressure. And moving on down, I'll look at the goalkeepers. Have they made the goalkeeper work? Well, this one's been made to work a lot more, the Jablonec keeper, hasn't he? 0-3 as well is a disalarming scoreline for Zlin. They think the job's done. They're going to be switched off subtly in that second half. Hopefully, Jablonec will remember their 1.67 favourite and get us a nice early goal. But if you're ever going to be playing these lower tiers, do so at these kind of odds with this kind of a liability. St. Pauli are warming to the task against Borussia Mönchengladbach, as you can see. Our 1.6 and lower sides, well, sod's law, of course, no goals at all. But could be one to look out for second half, maybe an over 1.5 goal play second half. We will see. Riemens 1-2. I would have played that again. I like that at the end. Vasteras did the job with similar stats just earlier on. So well worth the punt. Padova and Südtirol 2.4 the favourite. No great interest in Serie B. And you'll notice if you go to Odds Checker, a lot of the Serie B sides over 2.5 goals is evens or over. So it's not expected too much out of them. But Häcken and Malmo, we might be seeing another goal in this one. 2.4 the favourite though. The market finding it tough to read. Atalanta have woken up ever so subtly right at the end of the first half. And if they can continue that into the second half, we might be in with a run for our money. But this is the difficulty of this weekend. Are they going to be one of those sides like Chelsea, Liverpool? Who else lost? Man City losing with that Champions League influence? Or are they going to be one of those sides who thrive like Villarreal? It's certainly a match they should be targeting. And it's this draw sequence they have to end as well. Rather end it 1-2 rather than 1-0. It's a bit hit and miss whether I get involved or not. You can see the dilemma I'm facing. If they do lose today, it is because of this Champions League coming up against Marseille in the league format. So every match is a must win. They have to get a certain amount of points or be in a certain league position in the Champions League to continue on. Goal coming in. No. Hope you're all okay over on YouTube. Yeah, Frankfurt goal disallowed. They are an extremely good overs side. They really are. Let's see if I can get the expected goals thing up for you for Frank. And I showed you in the research. And there's the goal. Well done, Exchange. Got on straight away. Got on at the right time. And this is what I'm saying, 1.64 expected goals, playing a Heidenheim with 1.86 average. If these are accurate, this is got from an AI app which trawls the internet. So I'm thinking these are accurate. They look right, don't they? So when you've got Frankfurt with this kind of XG heading towards 2 goals a game against a Heidenheim whose defensive XG is just god awful, then goals are going to flow. Add in that 1.6 and lower, and you're going to see a good recipe. And indeed, with the Heidenheim opener, a good recipe for a potential trade. But now we've got the same problem that we've got with Udinese, don't we? And you can tell me what that is. I think it's pre-European club competition for Frankfurt. That's what we've got to worry about. But they are absolutely jam-packed full of goals all the time. You just look at their form. If you looked at my research today, jam-packed, really good, goal-laden unit. But this will tell us whether they're in Europe or not, past fixtures. And indeed, that stands out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? Champions League. Prior to that, though, they were away at Freiburg. They are away today. They got a battling 2-2, but Freiburg were also involved in Europe. Losing to Bayern Munich, well, everyone loses to Bayern Munich. So they are in the Champions League, but look at these goals. It's absolutely mental. Goal totals: 5, 4, 4, 6, 7, 10, 6. I think we were involved in that one, or one of these, where I was a goal away from a really big payout. I can't remember which one. I was cursing loudly. 6, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3. That was a DBF Pokal. And you can see this game ain't over. So we're going to keep an eye on Frankfurt. It's a tricky one because, as with Udinese, if Frankfurt lose today, we know why. All those sides last week losing, particularly in the Premier League. It is a real problem. Pre and post Champions League is a real problem for these teams, and it's a real problem for us trying to decipher the Villarreals versus the Atalantas, who just simply didn't turn up first half, 0.21 XG. So Frankfurt already had a couple of goals disallowed, so I think they might be a good candidate. And you can see it's going in waves as well. They have had the better of the half, but while they were ahead, and momentum-wise, they got done. I think this isn't over at all. I'll keep an eye on this one. Any goals coming in? Stoke City early opener against Bristol City, Chelmsford, Cheltenham, Burton Albion. These are all the FA Cup. And again, fitting in. This is flash score, I believe. These are all the 1.6 and lowers. So it'll be a very good exercise to see how comprehensive these are. Look at that earlier on, 4-1 for Chelmsford. I did take Chelmsford on, 3-1 up, but that was before the red card. And they similar expected goals. That's the only reason I did that. So these are all the ones that are highlighted here. Starred will come up here. So it'll be an interesting exercise to see. Now, these are our odds on favourite matches. It's got an opening goal from Mainz against Werder Bremen. That's another of the group, is it not? Indeed it is. So now you see, waiting 20 minutes to get yourselves better value on over 2.5 goal matches, in matches where odds checker are 1.6 and lower, has some real value to it, doesn't it? We've got 2 out of 3 coming before half time in the Bundesliga alone. I'll be including this in each live stream, so we can look week in, week out, and see whether it's a winner or not. You can look at the German Bundesliga here. We've already got those 2 goals before half time. We do have a strong bias. This would be an exception for me because it's 2 sides in exceptional form. They could cancel each other out. They've been doing all their winning against, obviously, weaker sides. They're playing, or they're very, very well matched today. So some of these, you'll have to just use a bit of common sense. This is a derby style match. Likely this is going to ignite as well, but they're both pre-Champions League. Being interesting to see the totals, the match, the goal totals at the end on this flash score. So as the Championship begins, we've got to be careful with the lower tiers. So I've only recorded odds-on favourites here, and you can already see it's not a good day in the Championship for traders of odds-on favourite. It is if you're doing a John H and backing both teams to score no, then you're breaking even. Got a missed penalty for Brum. Are they going to be paying the price for that? So these are all odds-on favourites. I've got to do them in the lower tiers because it's very dangerous. FA Cup will be included in that as well. Falkirk opening up against Killy. I don't know which one's an odds-on favourite here. So well worth having a look. Just a touch. They did go from 1.86 over. And Livingston, it's been a good league, the SPL for odds-on favourites, I've noted in recent weeks. That's why I've included it now. So the goals are flowing. No real trading outcome just yet. Got to be very, very careful. FA Cup probably not going to be trading, but it's just interesting to see if the ones at 1.6 or lower for overs are going to deliver. Grimsby et al. So we'll look with interest. Burton already getting a goal against St Albans. So I'm quite confident with this idea. I think it's a real goer, and it will limit your the matches you work with, and it will limit your workload as well, because you're only looking for 0-0s after 20 minutes, and then hopefully I'll show you the goals flowing. So let's take a first look down. Second half beginning, Padova Tirol, bit too early in the league, and it's a lower tier. Bundesliga, they are potentially going to cancel each other out, but Leipzig look on top from an XG perspective. But again, it's one of these up and down, N's and U graph, which means it's ebbing and flowing. There's not that concerted pressure from the one team, really ebbing and flowing. None of these of any great interest, apart from if it's an odds-on favourite match. Cambridge is. So we'll have a quick look, see whether it's the odds-on favourite scoring, and indeed it is. If it was Chester, would have been alerted to that. Nan, that becomes a match of great interest, doesn't it? If they're up for the cup. Here we have Cheltenham against Bradford. We've got an odds-on favourite, a goal down. But it is the FA Cup. That's the problem. Home advantage. You saw earlier on. It's not going to be a top priority, but if it remains 1-0, 1-0, is it 1-0? Yeah, 1-0 to Cheltenham for long enough, then it could be of interest. Fulham have opened up against Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's going to be a worry for Wolves because they're failing to score that second goal. They're even failing to score. We can show you the XG for that. It is not a pretty sight. I can't show you the XG for that, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. But this should show you that they are in a spot of bother. Really poor stuff. And with Fulham keeping it tight at the back as well. Wolverhampton Wanderers, expected goals of 9.2. That's not the average, of course. A difference of minus 2.2 is not what you want. You don't want to be in the minus. It means you're losing matches. Wolves had to score first today. I fear for them. 1-1 will be the best case scenario for them. They had a couple of 1-1s recently, but then that was very quickly snubbed out by a whole bunch of defeats. Unison Gilwart involved in the Champions League, so be very careful. Club Brugge suddenly stopped scoring goals. They've just limped over the line recently with a couple of 1-0 wins in the second half. Again, down to pre-Champions League. That's all it's down to. So no, we've got plenty of these coming in. Birmingham got the opener. We know they're odds-on favourite. And 0-2 to Borussia Mönchengladbach. It's going to be another woeful afternoon for St. Pauli, who should be heading back to the Bundesliga 2. They continue along this route. It's a 0-2 lead for an away side. You saw earlier on with Amiens a fight back. St. Pauli did have a 3-3 against Dortmund, but that was many moons ago. Opening goal for Brighton. Not unexpected. We're expecting the possibility of both teams to score today for Brighton against Leeds. Let's just have a quick walk through English matches. Odds-on favourites Saints today. I'll keep an eye on them. Very rare that the market backs them. Chris Wilder is back, and so is 1-0 Itis. Well, you wouldn't have seen that last week, though. Tons and tons of goals. But he should be steadying the ship now, Chris Wilder. Burton Albion, at 1.3. Boreham Wood, not interested in that one. And Millwall have taken the opener against Oxford. Be careful on this Saturday with over trading. I'm guilty of it. As you can see now, I'm getting tempted in. If we focus singularly on the elite leagues, we'll find plenty of trading candidates and quality ones at that as well. You can dip into the other leagues, and I'll try to be very sparse, but look for quality candidates. Forest, Sean Dyche, straight out of the blocks. They can score the opener. That might be a trading angle. I'll get all of the Premier League matches up, but do remember London derbies. There's 2 of them I'm not going to be playing unless there's something compelling like a red card or something, or a late play. Burnley and Arsenal. This is going to be a defensive display from both of these 2 sides. It's one of those you lay over 0.5 goals right at the beginning of the match, in the expectation of it being tight, and with Arsenal pre-Champions League. It's well worth risking, because if you can get to 0-0 at half time, just for £3.60. Oh, well, there we go. Look, saved by the suspend. Is this a false alarm, or are the Arse just that much better? There's your answer, I think. No, that's Newport. There we go. They are that much better. And there we go. We've got another goal in our flash score. So you can see some excitement with this. 3 out of 3 candidates getting the goal before half-time, which, as an over 2.5 goal trader, is what you want, isn't it? So now we've got the scenario where you'll have waited 20 minutes for these matches, which are 1.6 and lower on odds checker for over 2.5 goals. Back over 2.5 goals after 20 minutes. If you can get a goal before half-time, that is your first exit point, because the market is pleased with that. Over 2.5 goals is pleased with that goal before half-time. So it's got its legs, hasn't it? If we don't get the goal before half-time, that is something to think about for the second half, isn't it? So that for me is crucial when you're trading over 2.5 goals. But these are normally very good candidates for goals galore. Watford opener against Middlesbrough. No surprises. It's one of those tight matches, that one. Partick Thistle, 2nd or 3rd in the Championship, 1-0 up against Queen's Park. I'll just carry on my look down. I'll have to get rid of some of these, I'm afraid, because I've run out of space. So just take a quick walk through some of these for any matches which grab the attention. Spanish Segunda, Cultural Leonesa, La Liga, Atletico Madrid and Sevilla. Atletico Madrid have been dropping points away from home. Not really at home, but it is pre-European club competition for them. Hearts normally deliver at odds on. Really good trading side at odds on in the SPL, so they're going to be on my shortlist there. I'll get rid of Mönchengladbach, although St. Pauli are putting in a fight. I just need to free up some space and catch up with the watch list, and then we can get back to the goals. Norway, Bodo Glimt, normally reliable souls, but I'll follow them via the goals as they come in. So we're just going to get through England. One more Premier League match. It's a lead for Fulham. I'll keep an eye on Wolverhampton Wanderers, those 1-1s recently, and it's a lowering of the sights for them really as well, but they look relegation fodder, I'm afraid. So that will do me at the moment. That's our watch list, and we can see the matches as they start to develop. So we can see from Häcken as the second half begins, 1.63 XG. Up to you if you wanted to play. I tend to be squeamish about 2.4, the favourite matches, but they are on a run of 4 draws in 5 matches, Häcken. They are priced to be competitive today. I suspect Malmo might be involved in Europe, so that could be a negative from their perspective. Add these two together, 3.2 XG, performing way below that. So possibilities. Again, it's not an elite league, so I don't have to rush to judgment there. Second half begin with Atalanta. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Very, very difficult. You could lay over 1.5 goals and look for that 1-1 draw sequence to continue. We've done that with Celta Vigo, and they have delivered on the 1-1s. But this is pre-Champions League away at Marseille. No shots on target. It's one of those you're caught between, and you'd probably have to do the 2-0 cover because it's pre-Champions League. Very difficult, isn't it, to unpack. Red card for Southend against Wealdstone, because that's the FA Cup, perhaps. Red cards change games, and it's a Wealdstone lead already, so I think we can dismiss that. So it's a tricky one with Atalanta. As you can see, the hour mark already. You could have laid over 1.5 goals if you wanted to and sat on that. We don't have to cover we can cover the half-time scoreline regardless of whether it's a draw or not, can't we? And then sit on that and then lay Atalanta if Udinese remain at 1-0. But they've got a shot on target, 59th minute. No shots on. Maybe the 60th minute we'll see some changes to the team for Atalanta. But it's a consistent problem for managers. How on earth do we solve pre-Champions League underperformances? I think there might be some subs coming on for Atalanta. Indeed, there we go, bang on the button on the hour mark. Kristovic and Lookman. I know Lookman very well. So now we need to see an improvement from now on for Atalanta. That ain't going to get you any goals. 0.25 for the whole of the match. That is a typical pre-Champions League malaise, isn't it? Or distraction. Second half, any better? Goodness me. Mr. Magoo playing up front for both of these two. They're very unadventurous. All the shots being created, the chances being created, are of a woeful quality. That will have to improve, and hopefully will improve with the substitutes. So we will see that. Waiting to develop. No shots on target, though. No interest at the moment. It's just poor, middling momentum as well. Typical pre-Champions League. It may yet end 1-0 and we could have done a break-even play. but just no sign of life from them just yet. Jablonec woken up a little bit. Pre-match team talk, half-time team talk, sorry, reminding them the 1.67 at home. Woken up a little bit with that momentum drive. Now, can we see any shots? Just the one shot off target. We're not going to sweat this one too much. 4 consecutive corners post 50 minutes is very good. Nice pressure, concerted pressure from Jablonec. But this is a great entry point. We're not expecting anything, but we are backing a 1.67 favourite at exceptional odds at home. They have done it in the past. So we'll sit back without too much concern. Certainly be cheering them on. Goals before half-time. So we'll look on this again next week. Okay? You go to Odds Checker. Over 2.5 goals. Anything at 1.6 and lower. Target them for goals. Particularly if it's 0-0 after 20 minutes. It's got a really good record so far. Union Berlin Freiburg. This is pre-European club competition for Freiburg. So a little bit lukewarm with this as well. 2.63 the favourite. Tells you it could be anything. I just get that feeling that Eintracht Frankfurt have something in them second half. But again, it's stick or twist, a bit like Atalanta. If they're going to lose, they're going to lose this weekend. It's as simple as that. We can have a look at the goals markets for Heidenheim and Frankfurt. That's the end of the match, by the way. I don't expect Burnley to do anything at all. It's whether Arsenal want a second and then rest some of the stars for the Champions League. Heidenheim and Frankfurt. 2.5 goals, probably about 1.6. That's pretty good for their record, isn't it? 1.8. Now you'll need a goal between 45 and 70 minutes for you to get any movement out of this. You could lay over 1.5 goals at 1.18 and back over 2.5 goals at 1.8. You'll be stuck with a late 1-1 between two pillars, and you'll make double losses at 1-1 or 2-0. Okay, those are your only two killer scorelines because they're between 1.5 and 2.5 goals. So it's all a matter of when this second goal gets scored. But that, given their record as 1.6 pre-match, over 2.5 goal favourites, 1.5. Very, very good value with a goal in the bank already. So I'm just trying to formulate a strategy for us. Exit point as well. Third of liability as loss as your normal. Easy exit point. Seeing, again, if I'm collecting all the results, seeing whether over time the overs comes in, whether we can just leave it and get ourselves evens about a 1.6, 2.5 goal favourite with a goal in the bank. It's a very good scenario to be in. St Johnstone, top of the championship, goal up. No surprises there at all. Possible surprise with Chris Wilder's Blades, a goal down at Derby. Hope you're all okay over on YouTube. Fancy goal or two in the Leipzig match yet. Just be careful. They're playing a very, very in-form Stuttgart side as well. But you called it right earlier on with Frank. And you've got the right team scoring as well with Frank. So let's have a quick stroll through. I'm going to get rid of these. I don't want to be distracted by them. I can't see any strong angle. So we're going to keep an eye on these odds on favourites as well. So I've got to get back. Soccer 24 back up and running. Oh, here it is. So you're getting Sheffield United and Derby. That's what I was interested in. I've got it up here. It's full of goals last week. That's a bit concerning for a Chris Wilder side. Normally, you want to be relying on what Chris Wilder does best, and that's dig out a 1-0 So he's going to have to find the fight that they had last week with that massive relative for them goal haul. I think it was 5 goals, was it, last week? Odds on at home today, 1.8. Again, 1.8 is not a strong favourite by any stretch. 1.8 does include a 1-1 involved, doesn't it? It's not a rock solid favourite. We know they're not under Chris Wilder Bayern Munich, are they? So it's certainly one of those matches you'd be covering the 0-1, maybe even the 0-2. Let's just see what that's looking like. Difficult side to trust at the moment. I know they're odds on, doesn't mean I want to play. So let's just have a look. Sheffield United and Derby. If you were to lay over 1.5 goals, relatively low enough. Sheffield United +1 at about evens. 1.8 is normally a good yardstick here. Covering 0-2 for Derby. 3.4. It's relatively high. It's going to cost you a lot to cover 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, etc. 16 quid. But that gives you license then to go into the match odds, and you'll be getting far better odds about the blades there. And you'll get an evens return on your lay of Derby if Sheffield United can get the goal. So something to think about. It might be worth its while, but you still have to cover the 1-2 as well for Derby, which will be at 7. It's stupidly illiquid markets. It's real pity, isn't it? There we go. We see that concern. It's a difficult match to unpack. Maybe Chris Wilder hasn't been back for long enough for us to see any patterns, but we had 2 consecutive wins and a squashbuckling match latterly. So we can have a look here because they'll be on the odds on Favs list. So we'll move down. Let's have a look at that match last time out. And that could be the equaliser. We'll see. 3-2, yeah. Late Preston winner there. This is very unlike Chris Wilder. That's what I'm concerned about. 5 goals in 2 matches. What on earth's going on? Has he had a bang on the head? If this is more like it, 1-0, 0-1, that kind of thing. So if this is a ongoing pattern for the Blades now, maybe Sean Bean's come on and got the late winner, then we might have an angle with home advantage against Derby. So, neutral is probably best, isn't it? Wait and see. No shots on target yet. Very poor expected goals so far from the Blades. Dinamo Zagreb getting a goal before half time. Absolutely no surprise there. So we'll just move back. I think I've got an odds on favourite list there anyway, so we're okay. So I'll get rid of that one. Let's have a look at the flash scores as well. How are these 2.5 goal candidates getting on? Liverpool Aston Villa was the sole one from the Premier League, 1.6 and lower. If Aston Villa score, it's in the bank really. Liverpool are scoring when conceding. Nothing in the Championship. FA Cup already 1-1 after 30 minutes. Already a goal in the Gateshead match. Already 2 goals in the Boreham Wood match. Already a goal for Burton after half an hour. You can see the potential here, but nothing for Grimsby and Ebbsfleet. That would be interesting as a second half angle. Then I would shift to backing over 1.5 goals if it's 0-0 at half time. Then you only need 1 goal at the right time and you can get a trading outcome. Slough and Altrincham as well. Tranmere and Stockport, no goals there. French Ligue 1, a bit later on. Got the single goals before half time. Be interesting to see how many of those turn up. And then odds on favourite Hearts opening up against Dundee. No surprise there. You can see the Champions League biting away at Atalanta. We might have that kind of a day today. Look at Ajax later on. Juventus away at Jamie Vardy's Cremonese. Napoli have got a real tough match against Como, who have already beaten Juventus and Atalanta this season. Bodo Glimt conceding first. Normally on the old reliables list, Bodo Glimt. But again, they are involved in Europe. So it's only Real Madrid, 1.6 and lower in La Liga. Feyenoord later on. No, Ajax as well. But don't forget, it's pre-European club competition. We're already seeing the strugglers, aren't we? Atalanta, an absolute standout. Palace opening up in a London derby against Brentford. Not a match I want to be fixated on, I'm afraid. Pre-European club competition. Losing to Go Ahead Eagles, which is an awful result. Absolutely awful. So they're going to have to focus on the Europa League upcoming as well. 2-0 for Watford. Tough to call match. Didn't have a strong opinion on that one. No, I'll get rid of Malmo and Häcken. I don't want to be fixated. But you can see that 1.63 expected goals for Häcken. Malmo might be gettable late on. 0-3 for Slovan Liberec. I can get rid of that. No response yet from Jablonec, but we weren't expecting miracles, were we? But backing a 1.63 shot at double figures, 1.67 shot at double figures is well worth a punt. Premier League. Where are we? 1-0 to Brighton. Possible both teams to score if it remains 1-0 for a while. Even Wolverhampton Wanderers have scored against Brighton, so watch out. But Leeds really struggling away from home. Yeah, this will probably end 0-1, you would suspect. Burnley will need to start generating set pieces and corners in order to get any goals and long throws, of course. Crystal Palace and Brentford London derby. Fulham and Wolves. 1-1 might be flirted with at some point. Sean Dyche, that's all I'll have to say with that one. 35 minutes at 0-0. All of a sudden, the ship was tightened. But now Manchester United's expected goals is starting to bite on their behind. I'm sorry I can't follow your comments too much. I'll try to figure a way of getting these chats so I can see them. Maybe you need a secondary device. So we've still got that dilemma with Atalanta. Do we stick or do we twist? You can quite clearly see the momentum is not there from Atalanta today. They are being squashed by Udinese. You can just see this is a pre-Champions League lack of momentum, lack of market forces there. Look, nothing doing. What you should be aware of is that possibility of that brown line rising as we get to the 85th minute and urgency creeps in. You saw it with Napoli, saw it with Vasteros. We want to see a nice climb like this from the brown. Nice climb upwards. As sharp as you can see, we want to see the momentum rising to 60 or 70. Maybe this start moving up in increments, and of course they'll need to solve that problem. But this is the problem we're playing with, the Champions League. Stick or twist. Well, they've given a good job, haven't they? Given a good go of it. Jablonec, 52. Attacks to 11. 7 shots off, 9 corners. Still got 20 minutes. Get your prayer mat out and let's hope for a fight. You can see the momentum drop markedly now. Maybe they're losing heart. But this is why you get involved at 0-3. They do come in, by the way. So not always, but when they do, it's a delight. Backing teams at 20s, 25s, and then producing a 3-2 or a 4-3 win in this case. Leipzig have got the goal, but they have the better chances as well. Stuttgart are pre-European club competition. So on that basis, a bit blunt, I would suggest, possibly away from home, as they have been in the past. And that's about what we're expecting, isn't it? Arsenal not going to be giving Burnley a sniff, and just the quality of the forward line. Gyökeres has been in superb form. So Leipzig and Stuttgart, if we were to play, my idea would be something like this. Over 1.5 goals. No, over 2.5 goals second half with a goal in the bag. All we need now would be a goal between 45 and about 70. So you've got that whole gap there for a goal to be scored between one of these two to get that 1.75 moving. You could, again, lay over 1.5 goals and then back overs. And your troubling scoreline would be 1-1, 2-0. Only two scorelines to trouble you because they are between over 1.5 and over 2.5. You willing to have a go with that? Be interesting to see the final score, won't it? And the timing of that goal. Problem is for me again, pre-European club competition for Stuttgart. We've got some odds on favourite goals coming in, as you can hear, or I can hear. So you just have to keep an eye. Falkirk doing a job. Are they favourite? If they're not, that's another entry point. We've got odds on favourites, Southampton going a goal down. But the odds on favourites in the Championship have been god awful. And at home as well. This is why Saturdays have been a graveyard for me, going down to these and relying on these as well. Look at that, exceptional expected goals, 2+, and then they get done by Hull. Total and utter lack of confidence. Was watching a bit of the match, slumped shoulders, awful performance. So be careful. 3 out of 3 failing to win so far in the Championship. Hearts, I can get rid of that now. They're doing exactly what we expect. We don't need to be following that anymore. Boom. And indeed, Falkirk are overperforming. Evens. And that drift, an absolute horror show from Bet365. Putting the odds up to evens for a 3-0 lead. And we can just get rid of some of these. We don't need to be alerted to the ones which have gone, and the ones we don't need to be alerted to anymore. So Göztepe 1.45 favourite. Have the goal. Any other odds-ons in trouble? This is what we expect. Top 2 in the Championship. I've liked following St Johnstone. They have been quite reliable. Famous last words. And Hibs 1-1 against Livy. These probably best not played, but just for old time's sake, keeping an eye on the Oberliga. This is a potential play. Vålerenga and Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt, normally the old reliables. So we will see whether they are the old reliables today, unlike the Saints, who are in all sorts of bother yet again. So let's just get Bodo Glimt's stats up. Where are they? Norway. And I think they're involved in Europe as well. So yet another conundrum. But they are normally very, very reliable. Famous last words. 0.88 expected goals. 0.26 for Vålerenga. Looks like they are keeping a lid on Vålerenga's creation of quality chances. But they have had a conversion. 0.88. 7 shots off 3 corners. Not really got going on the forward front. 1.48 pre-match favs. In excellent form. But I suspect involved in Europe. So I'm just going to do some checks on that. We can see here whether Bodo Glimt are in Europe or not. I think this could be one for my money, to be honest. Old reliables. What am I doing with? I'll keep an eye on Ethereum because I bought a bit earlier on. Where am I going? Bodo Glimt. Are they involved in Europe? Indeed. Now, Have they underperformed pre and post Champions League? That's the question. The curse is there. You saw it with Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City. Win, scoring 5. Win, scoring 4. Pre and post Champions League. Win, win. That's a cup though. Pre and post Champions League, 7 goals. And a draw. I think this could be a goer. Post Champions League, win. Pre Champions League, easy win. The curse does not seem to hit Bodo Glimt. Now, if they lose today, joining Atalanta, etc., etc., you'll know the reason, won't you? And if you get involved and you lose your money today, you'll know the reason. But they look as if they don't have that curse. They've got their first shot on target. Looks like a half-time team talk, and Wolves are done. Oh dear. Half-time team talk, and I think we're up and running. So let me just take a look at this. Might be a little, there we go, they butchered the name. Valananga, laying over 1.5 goals. Yes, please. Now that's a good sign as well. The market's expecting an absolute shed load to come in. The insurance is going to cost me 2.5 halfpenny as well. I need to get that matched. There we go. So my usual stake of 40 quid can go straight to match odds and you get over evens. Now please remember, this is the weekend where these sides will slip up, if they are to slip up. Look at Atalanta, okay? How many of you would have piled your dough on Atalanta earlier on today? I see it when I'm watching the stream. All these punters, they're not aware that this Champions League impacts these teams hugely. So I'm going half stake backing Bodo Glimt, half stake as liability laying Vålerenga. Maybe on a unique weekend like this, you could back both teams to score no. It's going to be high, but then if you back both teams to score no, you don't need to do this. So I might go the both teams to score no route, even though I might be throwing some dough away, being extra cautious on this unique weekend. So I'm looking to win my stake. This covers 1-0, covers 2-0, covers 3-0, covers 4-0, etc. So we're wanting to cover that 2-1 in case this is a slip up from Bodo or they get a red card pre European club competition. So that covers 1-0, covers 2-0. I need to be covering 2-1 to Vålerenga as well. And if they win 3-1, I'll take the hit. All right, simple as that. I've done my research, and again, we are suffering from an awful lack of market forces here. So I have to hoover up from 7.8 and onwards. This is to win 40 quid on a Vålerenga 2-1 lead. So the scorelines I've got covered here now are 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-0, 4-0, etc. Okay. If we get a Bodo Glimt next goal, this is still alive. Both teams to score no is dead. But more importantly, we've got a far better return, haven't we? 49 quid on a 1.48 favourite. £7.50. The problem is if it ends 1-1, this is the problem with this strategy. If it ends 1-1 and the goal is scored something like here, you're going to be losing this. You're going to be losing both teams to score no. And you're going to be losing your 2-1 here. So that's the negative, that 1-1. So we are flirting with potential disaster with Bodo Glimt. But you can see knocking on that door. And it wouldn't surprise me if they score before half-time. I'll pass that on to Telegrammers, I think. And is that the Bodo Glimt goal? No, it's not. Oxford United. No, it's 2-0. Wow. That's covered. So I'll come back at half time. And there's the Eintracht Frankfurt goal. If you backed over 2.5 goals second half, you've got that goal from Eintracht Frankfurt. And you're out of your over 2.5 goal trade, if you've got any sense, with 35 minutes to go. That 2-0 has just been covered, but it's a great entry point if you didn't get on. Now, if I didn't do my insurance cover on 2-0 and 2-1, I would be topping up here with a fiver. That's what I normally do, with a fiver. What that does, so I won't do it because I've already got 2-0 covered. I would be laying Vålerenga once this tightens up and backing Bodo with a fiver, laying Vålerenga with a £5 liability. When this becomes 2-1, if it does become 2-1, that liability will disappear and you could even end up with a profit. So it's called averaging up. For example, that would increase that to 60 quid. Now you'd have a profit on the draw. Backing Bodo would be heading towards the £100 mark. 80 quid. So you see, you're giving yourself some extra leverage at this 2-0 if it becomes 2-1. Okay, that will be negated. You'll have had a bigger profit available to you here as well. So 2-0, 2-1 is covered. Maybe one to pass on to Telegram as second half. Union St-Gilloise doing the job. Lillestrøm doing the job. We can get rid of Lillestrøm. I like following them in the Norwegian second tier. Newly relegated and delivering. Union St-Gilloise, no surprises from it. Unless you want to be cheeky and take them on. They are a pre-European club competition side. So let's have a look at our over 2.5 goal idea. How is it getting on so far? It's doing all right, I would suggest, in Germany. And we've got the goals flowing in a few of these matches. Burton Albion as well. Grimsby, now we've got an Ebbsfleet red card. That could be a trading angle if you want to trust Grimsby odds on at home. 2 goals from Slough. Where did they suddenly pop up from? So you can see 1.6 and lower. The market tends to get it right at Odds Checker. Grimsby will be of interest, but bang goes, there's a hack and equaliser. I did suggest that 1.63 expected goals earlier on. So those of you who wanted to take on that Malmo leader odds on, well done. All down to the XG there. 1.63, knocking it out of the park. Now, this is what I was saying. You're just seeing a little bit rise from Atalanta coming to the end of this match. But you know as well as I do, it's a pre-Champions League cock-up. So you'd want to be laying at very, very short odds with a very, very short liability and a big return. Not really doing what I asked, are they? Momentum's not increasing markedly. I wanted to see 60 or 70. 0.37, still no chances and no shots on target. This is your pre-Champions League. Got to worry about this match against Marseille coming up. And they're in an awful spot of bother. But with that 1-1-itis, you'd be a fool if you didn't lay at 105 or lower. It's real 1-1-itis, isn't it? We've done this with Celta Vigo, and they have delivered. So make sure it's a low liability because they've obviously not turned up. And at these kind of odds, you can have a bit of fun. Let's get the 106. You can just sacrifice a couple of quid for a £30 profit. There we go. How about that for 56 quid? Still a bit of a way to go. You'll be surprised, 106 down to 101. And this is a gentle reminder to you that the Champions League plays a vitally important part in these kind of upsets. We've got a goal back from Jablonek. Strap yourselves in. We're going to have some Fergie extra time at Jablonek. Let's hope that the referee backed the 4-3 at half time. So we got the goal back. Have a bit of fun now. 1-3. Still enough time for a 2-3. That will shake it up a little bit. 3-3. Very, very exciting. And then some Fergie time for the winner. And that's the confirmation of that goal for Hacken. If you did play that, well done. Norwich are near the bottom. Hull were top 8. Yes, Stephen, quite right. Quite right. You can oppose the market. But they did deliver, Stephen. First half they delivered, let's say. But yeah, have the confidence to take the market on, by all means. Grimsby. I was heading to Grimsby, wasn't I? Because we got a red card and we got a home favourite in the FA Cup. And we know what they did. Was it with Man United? So if we can get any decent value here, and we're touching, that's just ridiculous. You're not going to be laying at 1.17. Taking the proverbials. Ebbsfleet, are they layable? Well, they're layable. No, they're not really, are they? But you can get Grimsby at evens, which is pretty decent if I wanted to cover. There we go. That's a little bit better. I might have a play here. Got to cover that 0-1. The problem with this, even with the red card, is the draw is in play. That's not accurate, I don't think, because this is still alive. Do not follow Betfair's correct scores or FairBot's, okay? Because it's completely wrong. I'm going to go match odds here. We're not getting much value because the red card is keeping the odds down. But you're getting evens. And I'll lay Ebbsfleet half stake as liability as well. Just leave a little loss on the draw of about 15 quid, 14, something like that. Yeah. And there's the over 2.5 goals in the Leipzig match. So let's just catch up. And this will be something to look at next week. You can see the potential in, I suppose, in leagues with a reputation for goals, of course. Nothing much doing in the Premier League. The London Derby, I'm not interested in. Wolves' red card now is problematic for them. But if this remains 1-0 late on, I might do a cheeky lay of Fulham. Strand Larsen, if he's not been red carded. A few corners, a few throw-ins. They might just yield a 1-1. It's a desperation stakes. Man U leading against Sean Dyche's Nottingham Forest. Took a while. That's the Sean Dyche modus operandi, isn't it? Man United XG is superb at the moment. And they are delivering. Bryan Mbeumo scoring as well. They are delivering on their expected goals, which is brilliant. Let's have a look at whether the Germans are delivering. We've got 2 goals in the Frankfurt match. Excellent stuff. Only the one, Mainz and Werder Bremen. So you'd be a little worried if you backed over 2.5 goals second half in Mainz and Werder Bremen. We'd be getting to that period where you might have to bail out. But you'd have a 100% return, Leipzig and Stuttgart. And you'd be out with that early 55th minute 1-1 there. So this would be the problematic play. This is where I have to work on our exits. When do we get out? Not going to be taking on Union Berlin, I don't think, Freiburg pre-European club competition. We'll have to wait and see. St. Pauli do flatter to deceive, but they don't turn their solid stats into goals. That's the problem. I had this last week with them and I nearly fell for it. So let's just clean up a bit of this. Bit of Fergie time for Jablonek. An extra 20 minutes, I think, would do the job. 2 sides in really, really good form. If it wasn't for the pre-European club competition element, that overs would have been a really good idea, wouldn't it? Both teams to score. Union Berlin, Freiburg, no strong opinion, but 0.92 expected goals for Freiburg suggests it's very much against the run of play for Union Berlin. And we can have a look at their expected goals. I think it might be a bit poor. So we'll bring this up. Yeah. This is the problem that might stop them from winning the match 1-0. Their expected goals against is 1.8 on average. But Freiburg a little goal shy, 1.36 expected goals on average. They can get the one, but they struggle getting the second. That's what that sort of tells me. That would be what you'll be relying on if you're looking for an equaliser from Freiburg. 1.8 XG against average. Keep an eye on it because they are a European side, Freiburg, and a couple of wins in them recently as well. But that's a DBF Pokal. Losing by Leverkusen, no surprise. But 2-2 against Frankfurt, and they're involved in the Europa League, as we know. So they have scored 2 goals in 3 of the last 4, albeit 2 of them not in the Bundesliga. Union Berlin, though, have had trouble scoring that second goal, bar the hapless Borussia Mönchengladbach. So they might be vulnerable themselves as well. Losing 1-0. Home to Hamburg failed to score. Mönchengladbach, all sorts of bother. That looks at an anomaly, doesn't it? So there might be an angle in for a Freiburg equaliser at some point. That 0.92 is a good stat as well. They're creating chances. That was a good play. Maybe Frankfurt scoring an absolute shed load of goals. If you've looked at the research at footballtradingprofits.com, you'll see 2+ goals scored regularly. Very, very regularly. And there's that goal. Oh, you've got it already, haven't we? Berlin and Freiburg. So that draw is vulnerable, but the 2.5 goal play would have been the one for me. Back over 2.5 goals after 20 minutes. If you get a goal before half time, that's your first cash out. If you want to take it into the second half, you'll wait for a goal between. Second half, you can back over 2.5 goals in the second half. Again, maybe top up. So maybe back £20 at first half, £20 second half, that kind of a thing. So we've got the makings of a good strategy here. Just got to knock it into place. Mainz and Werder Bremen. Well, the over 2.5 goals, not really eventuating here. So this would be one of those problematic matches. Forest and Man United, simply huge question mark with Sean Dyche in charge now. Man United, are they going to continue along their merry way? Because they are performing very, very well. Brighton tend to have a both teams to score habit, but Leeds United don't travel that well. That's the problem there. Hearts we can get rid of, delivering. London Derby, Crystal Palace and Brentford, so not too keen on that. We can get rid of this. Look at that, 0.00 expected goals, Burnley. That's Arsenal, down to a T. Unity Goa, if you're feeling a little mischievous, you could be laying them pre-Champions League away from home, 0-2 up. But delivering on their odds, you'll have to say, quite clearly. But if ever there was to be a time to lay odds on, and sub 1.1, it's pre-Champions League and away from home. Southampton nearly conceded 2 goals, and no wonder. 1.54 expected goals for Preston. It's awful, isn't it? The Saints, see them falling like this. Both teams to score in 3 of the last 4 matches, but losing 2 consecutive. Both teams to score in 4 of the last 5, albeit all away from home. Preston North End, 2-1 loss to West Brom, and a 2-2 away at Hull, where they were leading 0-2 at half-time. That might give us something, but we need to look for something from Southampton's second half. Now, odds-on favourites have been awful so far. That's a little bit better from Chris Wilder's boys. 0.75 expected goals. Don't forget, they're scoring 2 or 3 goals of late. I might find myself interested in this one. Sheffield United against Derby. Suddenly unlocking 3 goals from Sheffield United is very unlike Sheffield United. I'll get rid of this Fulham Wolves match now, I think. Can't see a way back for Wolves, I'm afraid. We're going to have to hope that Bodo Glimt score the next goal. It's as simple as that. But as I've already warned you, if you're going to get involved pre-European club competition, then expect upsets. Okay? Losing. Who else? We had Atalanta earlier on, of course. Goal disallowed, Union Berlin. That must be after some pressure from VAR. So let's just have a walk through as the 3 o'clocks return for the second half. The Bundesliga was very tradable midweek. Luzern and Lugano delivering on their goals promise in the second half. It's a very tradable league, so we'll keep an eye on these with interest today. This is a Linz derby, so be very careful. I don't tend to trade derby matches. So just clean this up a little bit. Jablonek, no Fergie time there today. What a pity. Derby County 0-2 against the Blades. That could be the angle in. As you know, the 3-goal habit from them recently. So let's have a look. Sheffield United and Derby. Just wait for this to sort itself out. And it does look like a really good entry point so early in the second half, with Sheffield United scoring those 3 goals recently under Chris Wilder's tenure and 2 goals in defeat in the last match. So this ain't over. It's a very, very early lead, 0-2 up. 0.75 XG gave us some hope, as did a rise in momentum. But this is a good entry point because the odds-on favourites have been awful. The market's just got odds-on favourites wrong completely in the Championship so far. So I think a back, given they're scoring 3 goals recently, if they can return to anything like that, would get us up and running. It's so early. If we can get a 1-2, 60th minute, you ain't going to be seeing 25. That's for sure. So I think this is very good value. Just get a little bit on the draw. Here we go. And get that over 102 quid. Give us some leverage to work with if we get a 1-2. So that looks a very good entry point. I think I'll pass that on to Telegram. But do remember, on a Saturday, if you're maintaining a focus primarily on elite leagues only, then your workload's going to be avoiding this problem here, etc. And there we go. I've got 3-0 covered. Now I'm going to have to scrub it. This is a pre-Champions League Bodo Glimt. I took the risk. And I did warn you, we're going to get hit by these pre-European club competition sides, but we don't know which one. Yes, Atalanta, yes, but Bodo Glimt, very unexpected. Now I'm in a spot of bother. I need this match to end 3-0. Simple as that. 3-1, I'm dead. Dead as a dodo. So I need at least 7 Bodo Glimt players to be sent off. Oh, that's been disallowed, I think. No, it hasn't. Just waiting to be caught up here, I think. 0-3 to Mönchengladbach against St. Pauli. Just don't have it in them, I'm afraid. And if Mönchengladbach are scoring 3 against you, you're likely to be relegated. Yeah, it's 3-0 now, so I'm dead in the water. And this is why I was so cautious with Atalanta earlier on. You just don't know which of these Champions League sides is going to do a boo-boo. So have to be very careful with that one. I think I might pass on Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United and Derby on just because of the value element. Sheffield United 0, Derby 2. I'm laying Derby at 1.2, backing Sheffield United at 25. Second goal for Derby came very, very early. 0.75 at XG for Sheffield United. Chris Wilder is back. They have been scoring 2 goals in the last 3 matches. We've got a whole of the second half to go. So I'm hopeful we can get at least a goal from Sheffield United early enough to get us up and running. So they're not involved in the Champions League, Sheffield United, that's for sure. So Champions League bound or European club competition, failing to win. European club competition, failing to win. European club competition, cocking it up, Man United. I just don't have an opinion, I'm afraid, with a new manager. No opinion at all. Union club competition, doing the job. Doing the job. Let their lead slip. And anywhere else for these European sides. Man United, given their recent form, they got 2 goals in the locker, but it's a Sean Dyche side, isn't it? It's a Sean Dyche. Nottingham Forest, and they're a completely different animal. I'll get rid of the Zulte Waregem now, I think. Just have a look at our odds-on favourites. And again, flash score, going for your over 2.5 goals. You've got another one in the bag there with that Norwegian match. Neutral, obviously, the better option for Bodo Glimt. No surprises there. Just don't know what to do. Nottingham Forest and Man U. You could get a Sean Dyche win out of this. We just don't know. London Derby, Crystal Palace 2-0 lead pre-European club competition. Could slip up if you fancy taking them on. As I say, this is the weekend to take them on. Particularly losing against Go Ahead Eagles in the last match. If the odds are short enough, they're layable enough. Yes, it's a London derby. It's pre-Europe. It's 1.11. Really well worth a punt. Just in case we get a quick goal. Off we go. Surely the Europa League is playing on their minds, Crystal Palace. And it's a little bit early to be a little bit too comfortable in a London derby. Ah, Sean Dyche, welcome to Nottingham, sir. Had to change his first name to Brian with a scoreline like this. This is a typical new manager syndrome match. Why I don't play. Brilliant performance from Forest. Arguable we could take them on, but we don't know, do we? It's a Sean Dyche Nottingham Forest. They could pull it off. I'd love to be watching this one. Wow. Let's just take a look through the watch list. No strong opinion there, but the XGs for both of these two sides is very good. Kind of expected goals. You'd be laying that draw a little bit later on if we can get it shorter at 0-0. Frankfurt, well, this was over 2.5 goals done and dusted. Mainz and Werder Bremen, this was one you'd have to solve the problem. When do I bail out? If I don't see that goal between 45th and 70th minute, when do I bail out? Don't have an opinion here, but superb from Sean Dyche, immediately making an impact. And they are more suited to the defensive layout, Forest. You saw that with Nuno Espirito. Well, Brighton's both teams to score pattern, spoilt by Leeds United with a worrying away form. Palace have been laid just because it's a London derby. And indeed, coming into this with 4 wins in 5 for Brentford. Kept very, very quiet today, though. Saints will have to show something before they get any of my interest. given the woeful display of odds-on favourites, this is exciting. And it's still early in the match. Very exciting if they can convert this momentum. And the rising expected goals into a 1-2. Early enough, 65th minute would be nice. We might have a real tilt at a decent return here. For the Blades, Paris Saint-Germain already getting the goal against Nice. Pre-Champions League, Paris Saint-Germain. Just have to get the prayer mat out now and hope this ends 3-0. It's going to be a horror show for me. And a gentle reminder to you, getting involved pre-Europe, particularly outside of the elite leagues as well. Again, outside the elite leagues is burning my dough. This is why it's why the bookies love these Saturdays, because they tempt you in this worse quality football. If we just stay Premier League, Bundesliga, Serie A, French League 1, we've got plenty of ammo. Indeed, we've only got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches to be looking at, and a few of them don't have any real plays. So something for you to think about with overtrading and increasing your strike rate. The better quality comes from the better quality league. Let's have a quick walk through the lower tiers as well. Championship, League 1, League 2, that's why it's quiet at 3 o'clock. The FA Cup instead. So just have a quick walk through. We can get rid of that, I think. Emphatic stuff from Watford. Ditto from Stoke. Finely poised and in a bit of winning form, Millwall. So we'll keep an eye on that one. That 1-0. Anything else for the shortlist? Well, Birmingham, odds-on favourites and delivering. FA Cup, just got to be very careful with. Grimsby, of course, we're with. But don't forget, the draw is in play in the FA Cup. Bradford, do you fancy a bit of Bradford? I did this last match and I got a winning trade, I think, against Stevenage. So they have turned up again here. Pre-match, 1.73. Up for the cup? Could be. But again, prepare to lose if you're going to be playing these lower tiers. It is compelling stats from Bradford. So just work our way through. We've got Grimsby up top, I think. Could do with them scoring quickly. Make use of that extra man. Talking of extra men, it's very, very quiet. But I think Fulham have done the job now with home advantage. Another week. Bundesliga. No surprises there? No. It's a good league for overs, isn't it? It was the same last week. Brilliant. Goals, 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 apart from Mainz, Werder Bremen. Eredivisie. There we go. Another pre-European club competition. Ajax underperformance. 0.05 XG. So again, like Bodo Glimt, like Atalanta, think twice before you trade Ajax. Or if you're going to trade Ajax, make sure you're going to get really decent odds. Keep that liability low, because this weekend is horrendous, isn't it? It looks like one of those where the teams aren't delivering. And all the while I'm waiting for a 3-0 or a 4-0 for Vålerenga. But no Bodo Glimt scoreline, please, unless it's 4-3-4. But I think I'm doomed, Mr. Manning, I'm afraid. So the goals have been coming in. Anything of interest? There's a goal for Grimsby. So that's got us up and running. I think I was a little bit too safe with doing all the both teams to score stuff. We'll have to just see this one out. I'll take the £14 hit on the draw. It's an early goal to allay the nerves. It looks finely poised for that second goal, doesn't it? It's nice and early in the first half. You could take that green now if you wanted it. You've only got a small loss on the draw, and it's not the greatest profit, but got to account for the red card, don't we? You could have simply just laid Ebbsfleet at 4.4, look for that equaliser, and boom, you're going up hugely. You've got a big liability issue to deal with there. So that's the best route for me. You can do it with or without insurance. The red card should have you feeling quite confident. Still no goals for Bodo Glimt yet. Great. I've only got another. How long have I got to wait? I look doomed, to be honest. So that's the opening goal for Grimsby. Bradford look another worth investigating, don't they? Are you interested in playing the Cheltenham-Bradford match? Have to be exceptional stats like this to have an interest in outside these elites. So have a look through. We've still got really good expected goals, don't we? Add them together, heading towards 2. And we've got that rising momentum I like to see at the end of matches. So we'll just see if we can marry these two up a bit later on for a tilt at laying that draw. Again, pre-European club competition. We've got a second goal from Werder Bremen. But that will have come too late again for that over 2.5 goal play, wouldn't it? But it's knocking on the door. And there is a strong second half goal bias there as well. There we go. Job done, Grimsby Town. That's perfect, isn't it? Just what you wanted. Evens in a scenario like that, when they were already pre-match odds on favourites. Superb. And the team, you're getting really good odds because Ebbsfleet have the lead down to 10. That's why it's really good value. So just regardless of, it's not an earth-shattering profit. I won't be moving to the Côte d'Azur on that one. But it's a great trading match, isn't it? Great value-seeking match. All down to that red card. And Leipzig bringing it home with the overs, and Stuttgart another European casualty this weekend. They all, look, one here, Freiburg, Frankfurt, yeah, doing a number, Union, fair enough. Any more for any more? Well, easy as you like for the arse. Man United leading pre-Europe. Sean Dyche doing a number. So you can see the pre-Europe element is hitting a few of these tides today. And don't forget Atalanta earlier on. So let's work our way through here. A late equaliser for Werder Bremen. Don't have a strong opinion, but no draw for Mainz in the last 5 matches. Forest and United. I don't know what to do. I'm not going to play. Simple as that. I'll take this off the watch list. Probably to play 2-1 late on, perhaps. That would be an avenue. And 0-3, Sheffield United. And again, heading down to the Championship is costing me money, isn't it? I've got the 0-3 covered, though. But I don't have 1-3 covered. So it's absolute carnage once you go away from the elite leagues. If we're sticking to elite leagues, we're making money today. 3-0 for Brum, no surprise there. So let's just work our way through. Crystal Palace and Brentford. I've just laid Crystal Palace because it's a London derby and it's pre-Europe. Very, very short odds. Not expecting anything, but if they're going to cock it up, they're going to do it this weekend. Sheffield United, well, hopefully that remains 0-2 because the 1-2 will be in play. No, it looks as if that's 0-3. So you can see going outside the elite leagues on a Saturday is a dangerous thing. Sticking to the elite leagues, we're picking up the overs, etc. That still appeals, but is this mostly first half because they are dominating the momentum, Bradford, aren't they? Really working it. I'll just grab that. Lock that one in. Have a look at Bradford. So how can we get involved here? Let's have a look. That's going to be relatively high. 20 quid liability there. I'll keep an eye. Maybe a late lay of the 1-0. But you can see the momentum continuously rising. Well, opening goal for Ajax, so allayed any nervousness. That's what I don't want. I don't want a Bodo Glimt goal. Unless they move it onto 3-3 and 3-4, then that would be great. But 3-0, 3-1, you're done with the both teams to score no and overs. So I'm hoping that they will continue. If you want to lay Vålerenga now, if you didn't get involved earlier on, you're going to get some value there, particularly with some 25 minutes to go. Late plays in Bundesliga, not really interested. That momentum suddenly dropped down. Rising expected goals late on for Freiburg. If you're going to lay at 1.09, lay at 1.06. At least keep the liability low if the goals don't arrive. That's the confirmation of that 0-3 Sheffield United against Derby. So 0-3 covered. But again, like Bodo Glimt, 1-3 not covered. Oxford and Millwall, just of some interest. But again, Championship, another Championship odds-on favourite. I don't know who's been doing the odds for the Championship today, but they're getting it awfully wrong. Home favourites, cocking it up left, right and centre. Atletico Madrid, again, pre-Champions League, huffing and puffing, but they are far better at home. They've been dropping points with draws away from home. They are okay at home. So possible breakthrough second half, maybe after the 60th minute. A bit like that 1-0 against Osasuna. Similar story to that one. 2-0 for Brighton. And Heidenheim, a late winner against another European side. And overs comes in yet again. And that was rather inevitable for Fulham once the red card was found out. So let's work our way down. Brighton leads 2-0. Over 2.5 goals, perhaps? Maybe not. Leeds are so poor away from home. Brighton 2 goals in the locker yet again. I think that's the 4th match in 5 at home, or the 3rd in 4 at home. You can get rid of Grimsby now. Did the job. So keep an eye on Bradford. Any of our odds-on favourite goals coming in? No great surprises apart from this problematic scoreline here. So let's, again, if we just focus on elite leagues today, this is something we learned from last week, really stops this over trading and trusting these lower tiers when you've got better candidates. So today wouldn't really have been a trade apart from that lay of Palace leading 2-0 because it's a London derby. No real trade. So that would have been quiet. Germany, over 2.5 goals. Possibilities there. Goals before half-time. And again, no real trade from me. So it would have been a quiet session if we're dealing purely with the elite leagues today. So FA Cup, I don't want to get too involved with, but Bradford standing out. But then suddenly Cheltenham start rising. Don't forget the draw is in play. So a late Cheltenham 1-0 lead might be gettable for Bradford, looking to get or take that into extra time. So nothing much really to pass on to you at the moment. You can see the problem we're having pre-Europe in deciphering which of these big boys or European sides are going to cock it up. I wouldn't have expected Bodo Glimt to do it because I did my check. They don't cock it up pre and post Champions League. Maybe because we're getting deeper and deeper into the competition. That's had the draw in mind at some point, but is it Millwall goal? 4 consecutive wins. In really good form at the moment. Looking at expected goals. Again, that's just coming to an end. If you're going to lay 109, 106 with that kind of expected goals, it's not going to cost you anything. And you'll capture the late win, which will be a winner, of course, now. Poor old Saints, 0.29 expected goals. I don't think they'll be getting my money today. Bradford still catch the eye, but not greatly interested. I would have to cover that 1-0 to get interested. This is highly likely to be a post 60th minute 1-0 Atletico Madrid. It looks like one of those performances. They are winning at home. They did beat Osasuna 1-0. They've got the expected goals, but it is pre-Champions League, which is the reasoning why you're getting a fatigued performance or just a slog in the mud performance from them today, like a lot of these Champions League sides. Ajax might even be vulnerable a bit later on. As I keep saying, it's the time to take these boys on pre-European club competition. Let's just have a walk through some of these. Just get rid. There's a goal from Zulte Waregem. Do they have another 2 in the locker for a potential surprise? No, we've got the suspended market. It's one of our matches of interest. Just nothing showing from Saints or anyone else, really. And odds-on favourites can't be relied upon in the Championship today, even with home advantage. FA Cup. Any draws, maybe, with an odds-on favourite, a goal down. I might be keen to take these draws on. So we'll have a look at Crewe. And Grimsby making sure, such a good value play, wasn't it? Evens for that kind of a scoreline. Excellent. Get rid of that one now. So we're missing League One, League Two today. Normally yield us something. The FA Cup not really catching the imagination. I suppose Man United have been scoring 2+ goals for fun of late. We'll keep an eye on that. Still no response from Brentford, but not expecting one. I was only laying speculatively because it's pre-European club competition. French Ligue 1, Paris Saint-Germain's goal disallowed earlier on. Again, is this going to be another fatigued performance pre-Champions League from them? They have had a lot of under 2.5 goal matches. So 1-0, 2-0 wouldn't surprise today. Panathinaikos odds on, because that's the kind of odds you'll see for an odds on favourite, a goal down. So keep an eye on that one. Might get a response from Panathinaikos there. Nothing much else really. So it might be an abrupt finish at 4:45. And it'll be just a focus on the elites later on, because I don't want to be sucked in like this one. Awful. Did all my checks. Need a minor miracle from Bodo Glimt. Elsewhere, well, the Irish Premier League's normally a Friday league. Derry City odds on away at Cork. St Pat's have been pretty tough to score 2 goals against, so they'll get a look in a bit later on. A goal back from Sheffield United is exactly what I wanted at 1-2. Really wanted that at 1-2 because we'd be up and running then with 20 minutes to go at 1-2. You'd have a real chance of that 2-2 would ignite the draw, and off we go. But that 1-3 has just killed it off. Oh, man. And that would be even more galling if that was a penalty. So they're doing what I expect. But why on earth are you conceding a 3rd goal? I don't understand. Championship absolutely diabolical today. Nothing much else. So it's getting a bit quiet for candidates now at the moment. So I'll just have a look at my odds on list. Any nil-nils in this as well. So we go. Have a look at the odds on favourites here. No surprises yet. Well, they did drift a little, Man United. This is Soccer 24 yet, so any surprises? Well, yes, we know all about that, don't we? Very, very disappointed. We got the goal at the right time, but they conceded one before it. And it's a bloody penalty as well. Ah. So, yes, I was right. They did score the next goal from open play. Oh, that's so disappointing, isn't it? It was evolving well, that match. I can't legislate for penalties, and you have to take the hit when a penalty is involved. So any other odds on favourites? Southampton, as we know very well, not delivering at all. We don't automatically jump in. We've got to do our checks. Bromley and Bristol Rovers, probably a little too late for a Bromley response. And Bradford, just not delivering in the FA Cup, are they? But that draw is in play. So that 1-0 could be a tradable match later on. Laying Cheltenham late on. Bradford have dominated the majority of the match, but just not crossed the line. So anything doing? Not really for me. I could do with a Sheffield United 2-3 now and a Bodo Glimt 2-3, and I hope that 3-3 will be on the cards for the last 10 minutes of the match. Get me out of jail. Very, very disappointing to have done all the checks and Bodo Glimt to concede a 3rd, but maybe you just don't play these European sides unless you can really limit that entry point or that liability. Starting to come back momentum-wise, Bradford, but I'm not going to be laying unless I can cover the 1-0. We don't need to know about Hearts anymore. 1.29 and really delivering, aren't they? So we can get rid of that. Falkirk as well. Just get rid of some of these that we don't need to know the score lines of. Get rid of that one. Birmingham odds on delivering. Derby can't, well, 5-0 Stoke. So get rid of a few of these. Tighten the ship. Don't need to know anything really in the FA Cup. So running out of candidates at the moment, so I might just I'll see it through to 4:45, I think. 4-0 to Burton Albion. Don't need to know any more of that. Any draws, perhaps, or any 1-0s, because Scunthorpe might be looking for an equaliser, so that could be an angle in for these FA Cups while these leagues are quiet. 2-3 Bodo Glimt would be very nicely received. Similar story with United. We know they have 2 goals in them as well. So can they do me a solid? Probably not. It's very rare to see 2 consecutive 3-1s when you've done a both teams to score. No, very rare indeed. So this is not the norm by any stretch. It does work very well ordinarily, but there are excuses, particularly with Bodo Glimt, and of course with that penalty for Derby, which quite simply can't legislate for. Really disappointing. Atletico Madrid 1-0 at some point, but what's the angle in? And again, it won't surprise to finish 0-0. It's pre-Champions League Athletic, so labouring, not a surprise. It's that 1-0 at some point. Normally, they'll make some substitutions on the 60-minute mark, and that will be the catalyst for a 1-0 win at the very least. But are they going to do an Atalanta and fail to score pre-Champions League? Well, no subs yet, so I would be waiting for that, unless it's a strong lineup initially. Soloth, Alvarez. Anyone on the bench who can really change? Antoine Griezmann is the standout there. Conor Gallagher as well. So something for Conte to take off the bench. Let's have a look at that Osasuna match, because it's very similar to that one. Pre-Champions League, huff and puff. That was a 69th minute goal from Almada. He came on as a sub. So we might be seeing a mid 60th minute substitution here. That could be the catalyst for something. This would be a great one, wouldn't it, for laying over 0.5 goals, had I been a bit more aware at half time, because of the Champions League element. So just wait for the substitutions now for Atletico Madrid, I think. 65th minute or thereabouts. Could see a possible rise in their shots on and shots off target. 0-0, 1-0 is the likely final scoreline for that one. Panathinaikos look good for an equaliser against Volos. Do we trust the Greeks? I like what I'm seeing, though. They have dominated the match, really. The momentum's been above Volos for the whole of the match. Possibilities with Panathinaikos. Pre-match odds on favourites as well. Not sure if they're involved in Europe, but there could be an equaliser to come out of this one. You would have to cover the 1-0 scoreline because this is Greece. Very defensive league. We can do a bit of a research on this one. So let's have a look at the Greek Super League. Panathinaikos and Volos. So anything in Panathinaikos season to suggest they can fight back. So let's have a quick shufty at this. So no draw yet for Volos this season. And there's that goal for Atleti, and there's a goal for Man United. Difficult match to unpack. Do you stick or twist with Dyche? But Man United are scoring 2 goals for fun. What did I say? 65 minutes. Bang on the button. If you did lay the draw there, it was following the Osasuna route, wasn't it? That's what they are far better at home. They're more reliable at home, Atletico Madrid. That's probably a sub as well. So where was I? We're just looking at Volos, Panathinaikos. And you can see with Panathinaikos, 3 wins in 4 matches, albeit 2 of them at home. They do score and concede away from home, which is a positive when you're taking on that Volos lead. But Volos in a good bit of winning form. But notably, they've been losing to the big guns: Aris Thessaloniki, Olympiakos, AEK Athens, PAOK Thessaloniki, all the big guns. Panathinaikos are one of that bunch of four. So we're not expecting too many goals from Volos. The potential, the potential is there for them to use momentum, winning momentum to get the win. But they did need, or they have conceded a penalty in the last two. So that is of interest as well. No surprises there. No. If you did play Forest and Man United, well done. I can't read Sean Dyche. You can't read Man U apart from to say lay the very, very late draw with Man United. There we go. Look, momentum rise. You see this all the time. Napoli, momentum rise, and then the goal. Highest point in the match at 0-0. Probably a sub, and then it's up and running. So if you did lay the draw there, well done. It's the modus operandi pre-Champions League for Atletico Madrid. 5 minutes to go. I need 2 goals from Bodo. I need 2 goals from Sheffield United. But I'm just disappointed with that penalty because they scored the next goal from open play. Oh, man. Oh, man. So keep an eye on Volos, working our way down. Look at the challenge table. Both teams have scored in the last 3. Both teams scored last 2. So that's a positive. And 7th against 5th. That tells a story, doesn't it? Tells a big story. That tells a story as well. 1-1 draws. Both teams are scoring. So I might have this one to look at. Keep an eye on Cheltenham as well. As you know, the draw is in play. They've bossed this one. They've just not crossed the line. It would have to be a lot shorter odds than this. Volos and Pana probably best getting involved in the second half. So I'm just going to do my usual route. Lay over 1.5 goals. Probably get involved before half time in case we get a 1-1. Match odds for me. And that'll be half stake and half stake as liability. So backing Panathinaikos and lay Volos. So hopefully we'll get a score draw at the very least. We won't get a second goal. Yeah, no real trades for me at all at the moment with any of that lot. Certainly the draw is going to be layable late on. I think, particularly with Man United's recent record, as you know. Forest have improved their goal scoring markedly under Sean Dyche. That's a real foundation, but they've got to work on that defence. That Desmond Tutu is very, very layable at some point late on. I don't think I'll be playing Oxford and Millwall. Goals are flowing. A few Desmond Tutus coming in. Milton King, Dons, Cotter Leonessa and Mirandes. And of course, Nottingham Forest Man U. That 2-2 should be vulnerable. Man U to keep their winning run going. Bradford just not added to those shots on target, have they? And that momentum has dissipated, hasn't it? It's just gone. So I'll take that one off. But 109, 106, if you're going to lay Cheltenham, lay them at those odds. Don't forget that 1-1. If Bradford can salvage that, they'll get that draw. So they'll have the draw in the bag if they can just salvage something out of this match. Crewe and Donny, I think I'll give that one a miss. PSG, again, this is going to be a similar story to Atletico Madrid that you've just seen. We're highly likely to see a 1-0, 2-0 Paris Saint-Germain. They're probably going to revert to their under 2.5 goals that they've been doing of late. 1-0 and a 2-0 possible, I would suggest today, for them. When though? That's the question. 60, 65th minute would be a good entry point, like Atletico Madrid, 60th minute mark. Maybe bring a substitution on or two, or get an Mbappe goal and bring him off, that kind of a thing. Will it end 0-0? Well, I'm not sure that Paris Saint-Germain will tolerate that, particularly as they've had 3 draws in the last 4 matches. They are letting Marseille in with a title shout. So 1-0, 2-0, possible second half. Yeah, 1-0, 2-0. 1.17 suggests 3-0, 4-0, but it is pre-Champions League. So 60 minutes for me would be an opening look if this continues to be 1-0. That looks good, doesn't it? It just, it's a nice scenario there, Volos and Panathinaikos. Again, though, it's not an elite league, so prepare to take a kick in the knackers, particularly on a Saturday. You've just seen the bookmakers price up the vast majority of odds on favourites in the Championship, and the vast majority of those haven't delivered at all. So that's be the only match of interest coming into this. And that's it. I'll say goodbye to you now. It's coming up to 3 o'clock. Yeah, that was awful, wasn't it, Bodo Glimt? But it's you either play pre-Europe or you don't. And we saw them. This is the first time this season they haven't not won or drawn before or after a Champions League match. It must be they're getting deeper and deeper. Thanks very much for coming along. I'll be on Telegram for a little bit longer. Let's stick to the elites this evening, I think. Have a great day, and I'll see you on Telegram.